A new terrorism report cites Islamic State and Boko Haram among the worst security threats. Worshippers attend Emmanuel AME's first service since a mass shooting at the church shocked people around the world. And Kylie Jenner takes to the hottest social media app to make a surprising admission. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori. This is Africa 54. The U.S. State Department says terrorist attacks worldwide jumped by 35% last year, with an 81% increase in the number of deaths. In its annual assessment of terrorism, it says the militant groups Islamic State and Boko Haram were responsible for a high number of exceptionally lethal attacks. We get more from VOA State Department correspondent Pam Dawkins.
The State Department says Islamic State militants were responsible for 1,083 attacks last year, the most of any terror group. It says those attacks, such as one in northern Iraq that led to the killing of dozens of captured Iraqi soldiers, resulted in more than 6,000 deaths. Syria's ongoing civil war has been a spur for many worldwide terrorism events, says counterterrorism coordinator Tina Kadenow.
The overall flow of foreign terrorist fighter travel to Syria was estimated at more than 16,000 foreign terrorist fighters from over 90 countries as of late December, which is a number that exceeds any similar flow of foreign terrorist fighters traveling to other countries in the last 20 years.
In Nigeria, people scrambled for safety as police moved in following a November market bombing linked to Boko Haram. The State Department says the group's brutal tactics in West Africa resulted in more than 5,000 casualties last year and nearly 1,300 kidnappings, including several hundred girls from a school in Chibok.
Boko Haram shares with ISIL a penchant for the use of these brutal tactics, which include stonings, indiscriminate mass casualty attacks, and systematic oppression of women and girls, including enslavement, torture, and rape.
Coalition airstrikes over Iraq and Syria are among U.S.-led efforts to combat terrorism, a problem that State Department spokesman John Kirby says the U.S. can't take on alone.
The real answer to getting at terrorism is cooperative international efforts across the spectrum, and it can't just be done by the United States, and there's just simply no way.
State Department officials say the U.S. has been working to shift its counterterrorism strategy to more effectively partner with countries where terrorist networks are seeking a foothold. Pam Dawkins, VOA News, the State Department.
Well, it's been a very busy day in the Mediterranean Sea for members of the British Royal Navy. Nearly 900 migrants were rescued by the crew of the ship HMS Bulwark on Monday. The migrants were then ferried to a port in Taranto in Italy. Local media reports say 133 women and 83 children were among the rescued migrants. The arrival of the migrants occurs as European Union foreign ministers agreed on Monday to launch a naval operation against gangs smuggling migrants to Europe from Libya, although the mission will be limited to intelligence gathering for now due to a lack of UN authority. Well, a powerful spirit of unity and togetherness swept across Charleston, South Carolina Sunday as an African-American church reopened with an emotional service just 4 days after a 21-year-old white man killed 9 black people in a racially motivated shooting. VOA religion correspondent Jerome Sokolowski tells us more.
Quoting from the book of Isaiah, Reverend Norvell Goff told the congregation at the church, affectionately known as Mother Emanuel, that their prayers were a triumph over evil.
The doors of Mother Emanuel is open on this Sunday. It sends a message to every demon in hell and on earth.
The intense worship went on for hours, while outside people came from far and wide to listen.
When I'm tired, he makes me strong.
Elsewhere in the city, they also paid tribute in song.
Through the storm, he is Lord.
And in contemplation. As the belfries across this so-called holy city tolled at the appointed hour. And at Mother Emanuel, the congregants finally emerged, their faith strengthened amid the sorrow.
I honestly felt that God's presence was there. And even I felt a genuine that he was really believing that God was going to take care of all of us.
It's a very sad day in America. It's a sad day in South Carolina. It's a sad day in Charleston. And as a result, we come together in a race of people.
The solidarity shown today clearly means a lot to this devastated congregation. But the ultimate test will be the support they get in the days and weeks and even years to come. Jerome Sokolovsky, VOA News, Charleston, South Carolina.
Well, now to Africa, where 4 people were killed in Burundi in grenade attacks Sunday night in the capital Bujumbura and a northern town close to President Pierre Nkurunziza's home village. The violence happened as parliamentary elections and a presidential vote set for Saturday, June 26th, draw near. The attacks are the latest in a string of assaults in Burundi, which is facing its worst political crisis since an ethnically fueled civil war ended in 2005. For the latest on Burundi's crisis, VOA's Edward Rema joins us via Skype phone from Bujumbura. Good evening, Eddie.
Good evening, Vincent. Just a quick correction. The elections are not going to be happening on June 26th, but rather on June 29th, which is going to be next Monday.
Okay, so they did adjust the date. Now, tell us about this grenade attacks. There have been a few attacks here. Is this a pattern or is this kind of an isolated incident?
I would say it's kind of an isolated incident. These 2 separate attacks happened in 2 northern provinces of Kirundo and Ngozi. And Ngozi, like you had said, is the hometown of President Pierre Nkurunziza and the leading opposition leader, Agathon Rwasa. The attack happened last night, and in Ngozi specifically, 4 people died, more than 27 were injured, whereas in Kirundo, 1 person was injured, and that person happened to be working for a bar where the grenade attack happened. You should also recall that this happens just 3 days after a similar attack. A grenade attack happened near a police station here in the capital Bujumbura, injuring 11 policemen, Vincent.
Now, what are officials saying? Who are behind grenade attacks in Burundi?
Today morning, I spoke to the deputy police spokesperson, Mr. Pierre Nkurikiye, who told me that as of now, they're not really sure who are the people behind the grenade attacks. They said they have apprehended 2 people in Ngozi who are being questioned. But as far as they're concerned, they say that these are grenades that are being thrown by people who are having illegal weapons in their houses. So they are carrying on investigations, but up to now, they haven't been able to identify where those grenades are coming from.
So nobody knows who really is behind these attacks in terms of the political sides. But, Eddie, this is happening as actually the general protests that we've been witnessing on the streets of Bujumbura seem to have quietened a little bit. What's happening? What are you hearing in terms of the protests?
Like you said, the protests are quiet right now. When you drive through the major neighborhoods that were so known to be a stronghold for protesters, there isn't so much protest going on, and I would probably attribute this to so many security forces that were put into these particular neighborhoods so that they can contain people from coming from their neighborhoods to the main streets where they would gather and start demonstrations. So if you go around these neighborhoods, there's a big presence of policemen, the army, and that would probably be the reason why they've been able to contain most of these protesters.
Now, despite all this that is happening, Eddie, do you get the sense that the elections, especially the presidential elections, are likely to go on as planned?
In as far as the information we get from the government, from the ruling party, from the National Electoral Commission, they're saying the elections are going to take place as planned. But again, when you talk to the opposition, when you talk to various international organizations, the African Union, just today the European Union also issued a statement saying that the environment was not conducive for the elections to take place, and asked the government of Burundi to postpone the elections. So as of now, it's still murky, and we are not sure whether these elections are going to take place or not. But the National Electoral Commission, I just spoke to the chairman of the commission just a few hours ago, and he told me they are ready. They have actually started sending out voting equipments outside Bujumbura.
Well, we'll keep watching the developments there. Eddie, thank you very much for that update. Viewers, Edward Reimer reporting live via Skype phone from Burundi. Now, several Burundians are Mandela Washington Fellows, a flagship program of U.S. President Barack Obama's Young African Leaders Initiative. They left Burundi last Thursday, bound for the U.S., where they will spend 6 weeks receiving training and mentorship in various fields, including public and civic engagement and business and entrepreneurship. Eddie Reimer was at the airport in Bujumbura when they departed.
It's almost like I'll be going to Georgia State University. I have pretty high expectations from the university in training and being refined in learning. That is the #1 thing I am so excited about. And of course, meeting President Obama. That is priceless.
She has been amazing, and I'm so proud that she's going so far. And I know the sky is the limit. She'll even go higher than that. I pray that God will be leading her to represent the country, to represent the beautiful country of Burundi, and to represent the youth and the values that we have impacted in her. She's a great lady.
I have been chosen to be a fellow this year, and my expectations are very high. I'm very excited to be part of this wonderful program, which aims to strengthen the young leaders in their respective communities. So as an electrical engineer, I'm willing to do my best in order to help people to get easier access to energy, especially renewable energy in my communities.
I'm 30 years old, and I'll be placed at Howard University in Washington, D.C., and I'll be doing public management track. First of all, I'm very glad and proud to have been chosen among hundreds of applications. I hope I'll be a great ambassador of Burundi for the YALI program. And my expectation is to learn, to connect with other young fellows, and maybe to think about it, what kind of impact we can make, especially for the youth here in Burundi.
I'm very excited, and I can't wait to be tomorrow at the University of Virginia. And first of all, I'm expecting to meet the other 24 fellows, and then I hope to enlarge my network. I can't wait to meet Obama and Michelle, and I hope to learn a lot. That's what I need for the moment. I need to expand my knowledge, to know more about leadership, and to know how to build a good country, how to become a good leader. Burundian youth is now a little bit disappointed and tired of the events that have been going on here in Bujumbura, but we have hope. We do believe in our capacity to change things, and I'm one of those young people, those Burundians who believe they can do something when they will be back, and I will.
I'm going to Wagner College. This is my host university. So I'm expecting to meet other young people from different countries from Africa, and I'm expecting to learn a lot of things from them since they have been working hard to build Africa. So I'm really looking forward to meeting them all and learn from them. I would love to talk about the importance of Yali to the young people here in Africa and in Burundi as well, because it gives us an opportunity to build our leadership skills that we will apply upon our return home.
I'll be representing School A Burundi in the field of civic leadership, and I'll be attending Arizona State University over there. My expectation from this summit is to gain more skills, more network, to see people which are working in the same area as me. Also to be a voice of the Burundi people that here, that also we are doing something greater for the country. We have also great young Burundian leaders who are doing something, yes. Personally, I would like to know what they are really, doing for Burundi as we speak because of the political situation, because I think they can do better than this.
Well, we want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. And check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, Senegal takes a major step to achieve rice self-sufficiency. Stay with us.
From science and technology, here's What's New.
What's new is a medical test called VirScan. This test, with just one drop of blood, can identify every virus you've ever been infected with. Stephen Elledge is with the Howard Hughes Medical Institute.
We were able to learn basic information about how the immune system works.
VirScan could someday help doctors diagnose what ails you and reveal more about how viruses impact your long-term health.
We can look at viruses and how they differ between populations of people, or people who have different diseases, and whether or not a particular virus might cause that disease.
VirScan was tested on 569 people from 4 continents known to be infected with particular viruses. It identified an average of 10 different species of viruses per person, but some of these folks had been exposed to up to 84 varieties of viruses. This test is not yet commercially available, but should be in the not-too-distant future. For VOA's What's New, I'm Todd Grosson.
How do you see the world?
I see countries in turmoil.
I see our planet changing.
I see people at peace.
No matter how you see the world, you'll get an unbiased and uncensored view of it on Voice of America. On television, radio, online, and mobile. In more than 40 languages all day, every day. Millions of people tune us in.
How do I see the world? On Voice of America.
Welcome back. Now, rice used to be a core, is used as a core ingredient in almost all traditional Senegalese cuisine, but only 20% is produced within the country. Now, Senegal has decided to stop rice imports and make the country self-sufficient. Africa 54's Mel Bailey has more.
Senegal consumes roughly 700,000 metric tons of rice per year. Currently, 90% of that rice is imported from countries like Thailand and India.
Okay, looks like we can view that story. Let's take a break now. And when we come back, not even money and fame can shield Kylie Jenner from common teen problem. So we'll be right back. I'll tell you more.
If you've just joined us, I'm Mariama Diallo, and here is a quick recap of today's headlines. In Somalia, at least 3 Al-Shabaab militants are dead as members of the extremist group attacked a military intelligence base in the capital, Mogadishu. In Ivory Coast, thousands demonstrate in Abidjan against President Alassane Ouattara, the sole declared candidate for an October presidential vote. In Mali, the Tuareg-led rebel alliance signs Alger Accord to end years of unrest in a nation driven by ethnic divisions and in the grip of a jihadist insurgency. In Tanzania, the United Nations ramps up efforts against a cholera outbreak brought on by an influx of Burundian refugees. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back to Africa 54. Here's what's trending. Now, being rich and famous isn't all it's cracked up to be, at least according to Kylie Jenner. The reality star took to Snapchat last week and shared that she sometimes feels like she has been bullied since she was 9 by the whole world. Jenner went on to share a message of support. This is just a little late Snapchat to tell whoever with their own bullies that the only opinion that really matters is yours and to never change. She finished up by saying, this isn't a pity party though, don't get it twisted. This is for those with bullies out there to know that you're not alone. Spread love. Love, y'all. Well, next up, Apple changes its tune on royalties. Hours after pop superstar Taylor Swift criticized the giant tech company in an open letter posted online, Apple announced Sunday that it will pay royalties to artists and record labels for music played during a free 3-month trial of its new streaming music service. Apple had already agreed to share revenue from paid subscriptions to the new Apple Music service, which will cost $10 a month. But Swift said she would withhold her latest album from the service because Apple wasn't planning to pay artists and labels directly for the use of their music during the free introductory period. Well, and finally, Southern California's lifestyle and beaches mean manicures and pedicures are a year-round necessity for the style-conscious women of Los Angeles. But for some, it's no longer enough to pop into the local nail salon. The Beverly Wilshire in Beverly Hills is now hitting the headlines with its new luxury experience nail bar. The most luxurious offering is the Diamond Manicure and Pedicure. It features a magnetic skin scrub, which contains tiny specks of diamond dust and is removed afterwards with a magnet. Now, the $1,000 treatment also features a facial and a massage. And that is what is trending today. Well, it's time now for Monday Sports Report, and here's Sunny Young with a look at the Women's World Cup. Hello, Sunny.
Hello, Vincent, and sporty greetings once again to our Africa 54 viewers. Round of 16 action is continuing at the Women's World Cup football tournament in Canada. There are 2 matches later Monday night. In Edmonton, Canada, the 2-time world champion United States is limbering up and stretching as they get ready to play Las Cafeteras, or the coffee growers of Colombia. The American women eliminated African champion Nigeria 1-0 in their last match, but overall they have not been very impressive. Also Monday night, 1995 world champion Norway will play England in Ottawa, Canada. In action over the weekend, Australia, China, France, Germany, and host Canada advanced to the quarterfinals. The Chinese women eliminated Cameroon 1-0. Many Cameroonian players remained on the pitch crying after the final whistle. Let's try and wipe away a few of those tears now by giving the Cameroonian ladies a sunny side of sports salute for making it to the round of 16 in their maiden Women's World Cup appearance. I'll even give them another one right now. I'm VOA's Sonny Young, and that's the sunny side of sports. Vincent?
Well, thanks a lot, Sonny. And, you know, looking at the way the women played, I would say, you know, you felt that the African teams were somewhat intimidated. I don't know if I was seeing wrong.
In fact, Vincent, Cameroon's head coach, who we saw on Friday's Africa 54, he said after the loss to the Chinese that African football officials need to put more money into the women's game to help develop the game. Cameroon was the only team from Africa to make it to the knockout stage.
Yeah, because you notice, like, when you saw Nigeria playing, you get the sense that they kind of have the basics, but they lacked that experience to play such tough teams like the U.S. and
In
Sweden
fact,
and others.
I had high hopes for Nigeria at the start of the tournament. They looked very good in their opening match.
They couldn't score.
But after that, they sort of deteriorated a little bit. But we'll see. I think it's a learning experience for Africa right now.
Yeah, but I think it is the same problem that kind of replicates what happens even with the men soccer teams. You feel that they have some idea, they're good, but they have not gotten the kind of training they need for that level of football.
I agree. And until an African women's team gets into that semifinal stage, much like a men's African team has never made it to the semifinals of a World Cup, then we'll know African football has arrived.
Yeah. Though I have to say, I think the Cameroonian women played better than the Cameroonian men in the last World Cup.
That's right. And I love that nickname, Vincent. The Indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon. Great nickname.
They did a better job. So I was impressed, and I think there's hope in that. When you look at that, you know, you get the sense that there's a future, though. I mean, when you look at how they're playing, and some of those were really young kids, with proper kind of experience and exposure, you get the feeling that there will be some African teams, and again, typically from West Africa. How do you explain that only West African teams, even in the women teams, make it to those kind of levels of soccer?
Yeah, I don't know whether it is a funding issue, but you're right. I mean, we saw 3 African teams, all from West Africa, compete in Canada, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, and Cameroon. So, yeah, right now they seem to have a lock on the game.
All right. So what can you say about the, you know, overall the game, the finals?
Well, right now, if I had to make a pick for the trophy, I would say Germany looks really good right now. I think they have the leading scorers in the tournament, and they've been very impressive. USA, not so much. I mean, a lot of talk about the USA, but I haven't really been that impressed with them, Vincent.
Yeah, it wasn't that impressive. But, hey, it was beautiful watching the game. Thanks a lot, Son, and remember to watch Sunny Side of Sports every Monday and Friday right here on Africa 54. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com for more news. Tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC, and in the mornings to Daybreak Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching. From all of us here in Washington, have a good night.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Sometimes American English is confusing and hard to understand, like
burn the midnight oil.
Everybody knows Americans burn a lot of oil. But is there a special oil that they burn in the middle of the night?
I have a big exam tomorrow.
Are you prepared?
No, not at all. I have to burn the midnight oil. I need to do well on this exam.
Americans are not burning special oil reserved for the middle of the night. They are just staying up very late. This actually makes sense if you think of a candle or a lantern and you have a lot of work to do that may take you all night. This is a phrase everybody will understand, and you can use this phrase when you have a lot of work to do and not that much time to do it in. And that's English in a Minute.